Hi, Vibhuti, you can start. We are live.
Hello and welcome to the Times Group virtual roundtable discussion, Leverage Data for Pharma Quality and Compliance. This is powered by Caliber Technologies and brought to you by ETH. I'm your host Vibhuti Kadam from ETH. Welcome you all for today's session. In the dynamic pharmaceutical industry, leveraging data strategically is crucial for compliance and maintaining high quality standards. By harnessing data, companies navigate complex regulations with precision, ensuring adherence to stringent guidelines. Data driven insights enhance product quality, support continuous process verification, and ensure data integrity, which is pivotal for regulatory compliance and operational excellence. Now, today's discussion, we will explore the evolving regulatory landscape and the transformative role of data in driving compliance, quality, and efficiency in pharmaceutical landscapes. But before we delve into the conversation, I would like to thank Caliber Technologies. Caliber Technologies is a leading integrated quality management platform solution provider for 22 years. Known for their top-notch quality-driven digital solutions, offering a huge portfolio of 11 plus world-class products tailored to support regulatory companies, particularly in the life sciences and the pharmaceutical sectors. The comprehensive suite of solutions covers process automation, quality management, and the regulatory compliance. This features flagship products like Caliber LIMS along with cutting-edge solutions like Caliber BRM and EPIQ, their enterprise platform for integrated quality, Caliber EM Pro environmental monitoring software, and Caliber dashboards. Notably, their award-winning product, Caliber APQR, is changing the game for product quality reviews. Caliber's digital solutions play a crucial role in maintaining impeccable standards in processes, systems, and products for pharmaceutical and life science industries. They ensure a strict compliance with international regulations, including US FDA, EMA, PMDA, CFDA, and MHRA. Through their wide array of solutions, Caliber has significantly improved product quality, regulatory compliance, safety, efficacy, operational efficiency, and customer satisfaction for their clients. As regulations evolve, Caliber remains at the forefront, safeguarding the safety, efficacy, and environmental sustainability of regulated industry products. Now, without further ado, I would like to introduce our esteemed list of panelists and our moderator, starting with Product Excellence Leader, Data Insights, Caliber Technologies, Dr. Kavita Vengurlekar. Hi, Dr. Kavita. Then we have Head Regulatory Affairs, Lupin, Dr. Akshaya Odak. Then from Otsuka Pharmaceutical India, we have Division Head Regulatory Affairs, Ms. Krupa Bahekar. Then we have from Serum Institute, QA Enterprise System Digitalization Lead, Sandesh Kulkarni. Then we have, hi sir. And then from Ajanta Pharma, we have Executive Vice President of Corporate Quality, Mr. Jayakumar AB.
Hi all.
Then from Amneal Pharmaceuticals, we have Head of Quality Insurance, Anup Sharma. Then from Sai Life Sciences, we have Vice President Quality, DPS Varma. Then from Wochardt, we have good afternoon, sir. Then from Wochardt, we have Corporate Quality IT, Ms. Deepa Pangaonkar. Then from IPCA Laboratories, we have Vice President QA, Mr. Nitin Tiwari. And then from Advanced Pharma, we have Associate Director Regulatory Intelligence and Reporting, Ms. Pooja Thakur. Now, to
Hello,
set
everyone.
the tone, hi, Ms. Pooja. Now, to set the tone of this discussion, I would like to invite our moderator for today, who is a Managing Director and Senior Partner of BCG, Ms. Priyanka Agarwal. Over to you, Priyanka. Very good afternoon, everyone, once again.
Good afternoon, and thanks, Vibhuti. Very important topic that we discussed today. The pharma industry, of course, has been one of the success stories overall for India. It's had a very good ride over the last 2 decades. Not only do we have a very large, thriving domestic market, but the pharma industry in India also has a very large component of drugs that they export. And the generics drug from India form a very important component of the health system of US, Europe, and many other markets. So therefore, quality and 3 aspects that you discussed, Vibhuti, there is compliance, there is excellence, and there is culture. All of those 3 are very important topics that we discussed today. And I have with me, of course, a very accomplished set of panelists to offer their views on the latest trends and how we can ensure, all three: compliance, excellence, and culture. So let me get us started. And maybe the first question I would direct to you, Sandesh. One of the latest, obviously, developments on the landscape of quality and compliance for Indian pharma has been the revision of M. There are all sorts of opinions and a lot of concern about how the pharma industry may be able to keep up with the more holistic set of regulations that have come in. So I would request you to offer your views on what are the changes and what are some of the implications as you see.
Right. Thank you, Priyanka. Thanks. So this recent Schedule M has been notified on the 28th of December 2023. So the objective behind this particularly is the harmonization of quality standard with current global regulatory requirements, including that for the PIC standards. The revised version is designed on a risk-based methodology with more emphasis on quality risk management principles and assessments. So what I can say that benefits of having a revised Schedule M is that it will help us, Indian pharma sector, to join the PICs. So it will be obligatory improvement in India's local GMP inspection system and procedure as well as quality system requirements. Also, Indian FDA's GMP regulation will be globally accepted after PICS compliance. And then reduction in the inspection and subsequently inspection findings, what I can see from that. Then this revised Schedule M has been divided into the 13 parts. So part 1 is related to the good manufacturing practices, which comprises of the main principles, which has one appendix which deals with the requirements of site master file. Then part 2 to 12 is specifically related to the requirements for manufacturing as per the product categories like sterile, oral solid dosage forms. And now a few new categories, including biological products, are added in the revised Schedule M. And part 13 specifically talk about the requirement of plant and equipment for manufacturing of 11 categories. So this particular revised Schedule M will make Indian pharma regulations more competitive and more comparable as compared to the global regulatory requirements. So if we see the comparative overview of the part 1 of the revised Schedule M, so what was the in previous version and what is into the revised version? So pharmaceutical quality system, PQS, quality risk assessment, product quality review. Previously, no sections are not mentioned in the sub chapters of any quality systems. And into the revised sections, it is newly added specific requirements are mentioned. Then related to the qualification and validation, product process validation requirements are specified with the minimum emphasis into the older version as compared to then the newer version. Detailed requirements of equipment qualification along with the process validations are specified. And then product specific manufacturing requirement. Previously, only 6 products were part of the older version of Schedule M. So now they have added the 5 more categories of the product. So total 11 product specific manufacturers requirements are specified. And then more specifically, sales inspection, quality audits, suppliers audits, and approvals. This activity was limited up to the internal inspection only. So into the revised Schedule M, this activity is more clarified and extended beyond the self inspection toward the supplier approval through the quality audits of his premises and the processes. Then documentation part also. So nowadays everybody talks about the data integrity and ALCOA principles and US FDA, MHRA guideline, more focus onto that. So now in the revised Schedule M also covers that part of aspect also in more into the detail. So so there are so many changes they have made related to the computer system validation approach and all that thing. So previously it was not included.
Thanks, Sandesh, for a very comprehensive overview. I guess the few things that I'm taking away is that, the current Schedule M is much more comprehensive, covering not a limited set of aspects or products, but a full quality management system, other than just the assets, around the good manufacturing practices. So maybe kind of continue this conversation and, maybe Jayakumar, I can bring you in. Given that this is much more comprehensive today, do you see that the, Indian pharma industry is mature to be able to meet many of these requirements? What are some of the benefits and what are some of the challenges that you see?
Yeah. So good afternoon all. So it's a relevant question nowadays. So we are talking about quality management maturity system. So what does it really mean and how it affects the performance of an organization? Because nowadays you can see most of the inspections happening in India or in overseas is based on a risk-based mechanism where an organization, those who have a very good track record of compliance, they will be least inspected compared to an organization where they have more risk involved in terms of their compliance track record with any agency, whether it is you take USFDA or EMEA or any other agency. It's all based on risk-based approach. So there is a direct correlation between your maturity of your quality system, and your organization's performance in terms. So it directly reflects on you. So for example, I will specify a few of the key elements where most of the organizations should have, to call it as a matured system, where they should have a very sound documentation system. Whatever happens in the organization should be documented, justified, reviewed, and approved by the authorized personnel. Secondly, the process integration, how you have integrated, because now we cannot talk only quality in an organization. We should have a process integration. Quality should be integrated with the entire process, what's happening in the organization, whether it is including production, warehouse, HR, engineering, everything. So a very good process integration is must for a very matured program in any organization. The third thing is the compliance. So compliance, it is within the organization, compliance commitment to the regulators across the globe. So whatever observations they have pointed out, you have taken a global view of those observations and implementing the corrective and preventive actions globally, not only at one site, across the organization, so that the regulator, when they goes to the next site of your own company, they will see the same implementation pattern at your all sites. So that will show us your organization is matured enough to see that the corrective actions are globally implemented. So compliance is another important factor to have a matured system. Then performance monitoring. It is not only about the personnel, performance monitoring of all of your quality system, whether it is your CAPA system, whether it is your change control system, whether it is your deviation system. So there should be a performance monitoring. So that is indirectly, indicating towards a metrics approach, like we call it as a quality metrics approach, where you should have a quality metric. So that is directly linked to your quality maturity management. So how matured your quality management system is. Another is continuous improvement. Those who are willing to do continuous improvement, because I would like to say that pharmaceutical manufacturing industry is still very orthodox or unconventional in implementing changes, unlike other industries, advanced industries like automotive or IT or maybe aviation. So there, pharmaceutical industry is very, very conservative towards changes. Maybe one of the thinking is that how the regulators is going to take if I do this, if I do that, how I'm going to explain it, how I'm going to validate it. So these are the orthodox thinking still we have, but we should come out of that, because now we are talking about artificial intelligence and machine learning and deep learning, all those stuff. So we should come out of that now. That's going to help us. So that is another way of looking at it. Another area is training. Of course, if you don't have a trained, competent, no personnel within your organization, you cannot implement all this. You cannot call it as a matured system. So to have a matured quality system, you should have matured people in your organization, those who are understanding the requirements. So another is your suppliers. That is, they are playing a very important role, because you have everything in your organization, but if your suppliers are not keeping that margin of compliance at their level, you will have problems.
Yes.
So you should educate your suppliers as well. And then, of course, it is the continuous focus what you are doing. That's very, very important. So I would say, whether it is scheduling, whether it is FDA, whether it is EMEA, any agency, As long as you are mature enough, you understand what's the requirement and you are mature enough to deliver what they are looking for. And because at the end of the day, we should always look at the patients. Now, because today we were reading in the news, no, AstraZeneca committed that could be some side
Yes.
effects from the vaccines. So now, if somebody has put pressure on you to release vaccines to the patients without looking at the risk involved, then it's going to be a great, risk to the entire
Yeah.
community. And you can imagine how many people have took the vaccination. And if you say now, and everybody will be, even after listening, most of us may get a heart attack. We don't know. So because they are saying there
Fair
could
enough.
be some level of blood clotting issues can happen from AstraZeneca's vaccines. So they're committing. No, we
Yeah,
will have
although
those
I'm not
concerns.
sure that is the side effects is related to good manufacturing practices and quality, or actually indeed how the trial was conducted. But you make a fair point because we are talking about the foundation of
Absolutely. So
trust.
at the end of the day, we should be patient-centric and we should, so it shows how cultured you are, and that's going to help you in creating a, very
Yes.
mature quality system. So that's what my point is.
No, thanks, Jayakumar, for sharing a very comprehensive set of what you called as a mature quality system.
Thank you.
I'll come back to your point on metrics, but I wanted to pick up on a couple of other points that you
Sure.
mentioned. You mentioned
Sure.
about process integration. You mentioned about the fact that your quality system should be consistent across different sites. Maybe on
Yes.
that note, I'll bring you in, Deepa, to share your view on, therefore, the role of data, because until you have a foundation of data, some of what Jayakumar was mentioning may become quite challenging to do this integration of processes across procurement, manufacturing, as well as to have a consistent system across all of your sites. So if you would like to share your view on the role of data as we see today in going up that maturity curve that Jayakumar was talking about.
Yeah, so basically, when you talk about data, it is digitalization. So mostly now, if you see digitalization, digital transformation, uh, all these aspects and data analytics, data science, all they peep in. So what is basically a digitalization? What does an organization need to do? So digitalization in any industry, it is a key to succeed. When I mean key to succeed, it is progress. Why progress? Because the data is in form of electronic media or electronic record, and thereby manual handling of data is not required. And because of that, lot of positive compliance is ensured. So when we say digitalization, so it includes a lot of robotics, automation, computerization. This reduces the cost. This enhances the efficiency, the productivity, and thereby the compliance. So being a QA, compliance is always a big yes to us. Now, the point is how to achieve this digitalization or ensuring the data. It's not very easy for an organization or a pharma industry, as Jayakumar rightly said. In pharma industry, it is a little hesitant to go in for digitalization. So now, maybe in last 3-4 years or 5 years, the companies have tried to go in digitalization, and it is they're reluctant. There are a lot of barriers in going in for digitalization. There was no IT roadmap. Then there was lack of expertise of the people to understand what data should be there, how data should be captured, what is the data storage, and all of that. So because of the less interest, there was less involvement of the people. There was an employee pushback because many like the younger generation are more gadget savvy, but the earlier generation, they were not very comfortable with handling the softwares. So all these are the barriers, but the good part is bringing in digitalization will help the industry to go forward and bring a lot of progress in the organization. So there are a lot of integrations that are happening, internally. When you talk of digitalization in the laboratory, so it is end to end, right from bringing the material into the factory till the release of the till the product goes to the end product. So there are lot of softwares that are built in, and these softwares have to be integrated. So the data that moves from one software to another, that moves from from one integrated system to other, and enhancing and ensuring that all the data that is within the system is captured in one system, and it is moved so that the data analytics helps to understand a dashboard. So the dashboard also, I mean, you can pick up data from different systems to create a dashboard so that the higher management, the senior management is aware of what is going on and happening. So this is the beauty of having digitalization, digital transformation, and hence based on this, you have the data with a click of a button
Right.
to any level of the organization to look what is happening in their products.
Right. No, thanks for sharing that. Deepa, I'll dwell further on the point of data. Maybe I'll bring in Anup. Anup, are you still there? Yeah. Hi, Anup. I can see you now. Anup, to elaborate on the points that Deepa was making on the critical role of data in ensuring that you can have monitoring, you can have dashboards. Could you, from your experience, maybe share a couple of specific examples where you saw that you could use the data for more proactive decision making? Or maybe also share a flip example of somewhere where you felt that there was a data gap, and that data could have helped you, make better decisions in this overarching framework of risk-based management.
Yeah, thanks, Priyanka. So data-driven approach are transforming the manufacturing process by enabling greater efficiency, quality, innovation, and compliance. So you can see in the recent 483, I am reading today morning, and it spoke about data where it is telling that statics are not implied on the process validation, and somewhere data was missing. So this type of gaps will create the issue in the quality system, and data play a transformative role in manufacturing process in pharmaceuticals. So by data, we can do the process optimization. Data pharmaceutical manufacturers use data analytics to optimize manufacturing processes by collecting and analyzing data from various stages of production. They can identify inefficiencies, bottlenecks, area of improvement, and you can use real-time monitoring of equipment performance, like non-viable particle monitoring type you can use. So you can know the non-compliances at that time only. So, and timely adjustment, you can produce the consistent quality. And you can do the predictive maintenance also by monitoring the data. You can see that you can leverage that data for sensor and other devices to anticipate the equipment failure before they occur, and by monitoring factors such as temperature, vibration, and performance metrics in real time can be used, and you can schedule the preventive maintenance on time. And quality control is giving lot of data to us where we can put on paper, and we can optimize the yield as well as we can optimize the process also. So by optimizing the process, you are also increasing the production, as well as in the same time you can also building the quality in the product, because if process time is more, you will have the bioburden in your system, and that will create a non-compliance later on. And you can do the continuous improvement by leveraging that data. So what I can improve further in this process, what I can build so that my process is more productive, my product is quality product I am producing. And foremost importance is regulatory compliance also. So by leveraging that data, it can help in ensuring compliance to regulatory standard and quality management system. And by tracking and analyzing key performance indicator related to regulatory requirement, manufacturer can demonstrate compliance, identify area of improvement, and mitigate risk of non-compliances.
Right. No, thanks for sharing that. And I think we started off the discussion today with the whole point on compliance and being able to meet the new requirements for Schedule M. Then we spoke a lot, Deepa, you shared about how data is a foundation, not just for compliance, but also excellence. You spoke about predictive maintenance, you spoke about yield. Maybe the third sort of topic, and which I'll move to and invite Akshay, if you could share your thoughts on this, is also the role of data and some of these systems for creating a culture. Because ultimately, no matter what systems we put in, whatever data we have, the culture that we have in the organization will also determine the behavior of people, which ultimately could be the weakest point in our overall quality. So if you could also share your experience in terms of the relationship between data and culture, and how you've seen maybe some positive examples, or how you think some of this needs to be strengthened.
Yeah, basically, if you see, when we talk about GMPs, we say that it's just not a thing that you have to follow. It becomes your culture. Basically, it becomes your habit. So when you go for your GMPs, or when you follow this Schedule M, and you are into this, it becomes, you inculcate that in your culture. So basically, if you try, I would like to classify this whole thing into a few points. See, the first thing is to ensure that you have inculcated these, you need to have these points in your system. You need to have a very strong data quality assurance, wherein you ensure the data accuracy, completeness, and consistency through robust data collection and validation processes. Then you should have a deep understanding in your regulatory requirements, maintaining deep understanding of regulatory requirements. When I say that, it means that you need to follow the guidance says which are laid down by different regulators, and to ensure that the data interpretations are in alignment with the compliance standards. Then you should have proper cross-functional collaborations. When I say cross-functional collaborations, I mean between the departments, different departments. So that becomes an integral part of your culture, be it the regulatory affairs or the quality assurance or the data analytics teams, or you need to have proper interpretations for considering into the regulatory implications for these. Then you talk about validations, verifications. So again, they're validating data analysis methodologies and results through independent verification process to mitigate errors and biases becomes a very integral part of it. You need to also, I mean, quite a few speakers, they have already talked about risk assessment, but then this conducting risk assessment to evaluate potential regulatory implications of data interpretations and decision making becomes a very, very important part of your culture. Then documentation and reporting becomes an important factor for the decision making. Again, but this decision in compliance with regulatory reporting requirements is an integral part of it. You need to have a continuous monitoring and improvement system where you continuously improve upon that. Basically, what I mean by following these steps, we develop a culture in the organization, and with this organization, I mean this culture, we work on effectively maintain the regulatory compliance of the organization.
Right, Akshay, thanks for offering, that sharing your views on the same. Let me also pick up specifically on the point of regulatory compliance, but also the regulatory environment and requirements keep changing all the time. So Pooja, maybe I can bring you in to talk about, what is the importance of monitoring constantly the regulatory updates, and how has that data that is also coming in from the outside maybe influenced the shaping of some of the systems that we are using today?
Yeah, thank you, Priyanka, and good afternoon, everyone. So I would really like to touch base on the regulatory compliance, because as you know, as every speaker very rightly mentioned, that it's joint collaboration between the organization within the functions like regulatory, quality, technical, and manufacturing. So it's a joint collaboration, of course. But as we see, from if you see the last decade, and the earlier to that, there has been a vast change in the regulatory requirements. Each and every health authorities are now becoming more and more stringent, or they are following the trend from the major leading authorities, which we say always, like be it EMA, which is the European Medicine Agency, be it US FDA, which is the US governance, or be it TGA from Australia, or the Health of Canada. So there are different health authorities which are coming upon as a trend and publishing draft guidances or the newer regulatory requirements as the space is evolving. As what we have a single tablet earlier, now we see the dosage forms are very critical, complex, innovative, to meet the requirements of the patients, because patient is the focus. So in this era, if we have a frequency of being proactive rather than being reactive, it will really, be a boon to the organization, that how this culture can be fed in. Like one of the speakers said, that we are skeptical somewhere as an Indian companies to adopt on technology to use that. But I would urge on the part, that if we see a very simple example of, and everybody must be knowing, nitrosamine impurities. Somewhere in 2018, it started where EMA released the first guidance on the requirements because of the toxicity in one of the impurities of nitrosamine, which is present in many of the in general tablets which the patients consume. And then US FDA has updated their guidance in 2022 and 2020, and then updated in 2023 again. And then Health Canada in 2022, and then updated in 23. And then recently we saw this year in January and in March, EMA has again updated their requirements. So this has been a very critical part, that once we get any risks to patients, there are requirements out from the authority. And if we don't track, if we don't have a process set in for the surveillance, screening, and understanding the impact assessment, it may, cost the organization later. So hence, I would, recommend that if there's a system in place, which we can call it as an internal regulatory influence or a data surveillance of the guidance surveillance, which will help the professionals of, regulatory as well as quality and technical and manufacturing to be proactive, to monitor the updates and be prepared, for the queries which can come, or the quality compliance which should be required, so that the organization is not falling under any non-compliance. So it's being more proactive, it's being more using the technology on the front of that. So if you ask me, there are 2 to 3, you can say, key benefits of using these internal systems and coordinating and building a framework towards this monitoring surveillance. So one will be improved compliance. If the regulatory or the quality updates are being, latest trends are being understood and discussed in the industry with the cross-functional framework, there will be, we can really avoid those non-compliance issues. And then there can be a chance of faster time to market, because that's the main aim of every organization. When we develop a product, we want to be first in the market. There will be a very good enhancement in understanding the risk and better managing the risk ahead. Of course, it will contribute to the increased efficiency and improved decision making within the regulatory strategic framework, where you want to decide the strategy of the product, that how should we go ahead and how should we really be in the market. So I think these are the key areas whereas in regulatory compliance we can come up. And one last point what I'd like to add is, health authorities are being very proactive in publishing the data in draft concept papers. Right from the concept paper, if you know the ICH guidelines, they first publish stepwise manners, the first concept paper where the first introduction is started for any guidance. Until then it is implemented. So there's a vast time which ICH or the health authorities give us to contribute as an industry, or to raise our voice as an industry, to contribute back to the health authorities. And that is how the final guidance has come on. So there's a give and take relationship. It's a hand-in-hand process with health authority, which can ensure better compliance in the organization.
Thanks,
that's from my
Pooja.
side.
Thanks, Pooja, for sharing that. So I think essentially, you were talking about how it is both important and beneficial to be more proactive in monitoring all the updates, and also the authorities are more proactive in putting out the information and inviting early consultation. So I guess, we all recognize the importance today of being much more proactive, using data, using systems. Maybe I, try to ask the question on, therefore, we know today that data is the glue. We know that we need to use systems. It is imperative. But what are some of the challenges that we face in doing so? And Deepa started to point to that maybe there is some people are not as digitally savvy. There's an integration issue, which Deepa was pointing, towards as well. Maybe I'd like to invite Nitin, if you could come in and from your, experience in your organization, share about some of the challenges, because we all know the importance. We also know that both in being compliant, which is step one, but also step two, to be faster time to market, to have quality excellence, it is important. But it's important to also maybe have the viewers learn about some of the challenges that we face and how individually as a company or together as an industry we can build towards that.
Yeah, thank you, Priyanka, for my time. And the basic thing is the every company now in India is in compliance. The importance is to further enhance the compliance, and the further enhancement of compliance is possible only by two ways: by automation and digitalization. And as you rightly say, there are certain set of equipment in the plant, there are certain set of equipment in the laboratory for which they are not compatible with the latest technology. So you have to adopt a risk-based approach. Sometimes you have to change the instrument, and sometimes you have to put more manual controls on those things so that this kind of things should not arise. And I will talk about two basic things. The first basic thing is the plant data, and the second basic thing is the data which is generated in laboratory. We have systems now available wherein the laboratory is starting from the sample weighing to the final calculation, everything is automated. So if you have any out of trend results, any out of specifications results, you did not have to depend upon any individual. The out of specifications will give you a red flag, out of trend result will give you a yellow flag, and the right result will give you green flag. So all these automations are available and are implemented at various companies. And the next stage is, as I am from the API industry, is the continuous manufacturing, wherein a product in API is coming out after 15-20 days, and in continuous manufacturing it can come out of in 2 days. The basic thing which to specifically answer your question is to change the mindset of the people, which is the biggest change. Is the human we are born is still, if we majority of us are using laptops from years. If you remember those days when first mouse was introduced, we were not using the mouse pods. So those kind of things are important. We have to take along with the people. And once you give the benefits of the digitalization and automation to the people, definitely, Priyanka, these things will be implemented in the organization, and it will be enhancing the compliance and improving the overall detection mechanism on the errors.
Understood. Thanks, Nitin, for sharing that view. And Kavita, you're at the forefront of getting companies to adopt some of these systems, and you have a variety of solutions, as Vibhuti was speaking about, right at the introduction. But as you partner with these companies together in this journey of getting them to use the data first capture and use the data more systematically, again, what are some of the brilliant examples you've seen of success? But I'd also again ask you to share the challenges which you find in this partnership.
All right. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. So I can go ahead with a beautiful examples what we have done, but I'll just cover the challenges we do face in a data integration. As Nitin rightly mentioned out, that it is just a mindset and the culture. Now, before I answer this question, we are just talking about data and we are talking about the digitalization, right? But then regarding digital technology, doing digital and being digital are two different concepts. So that described the different approaches and the mindsets. So let me give an example, like that doing digital is effective because it involves implementing digital solution and strategies to achieve specific objectives. Whereas being digital is efficient. And what is being digital? Probably it entails a holistic transformation. It requires a deeper culture and a mindset shift towards a digital technology. And being digital means getting comprehensive view on a data information. So probably in a simpler term, if I just tell you that it is 100% paperless, it will not be an exaggeration, right? And so as Nitin rightly pointed out, the challenges are mainly the mindset and quickly adopting the newer technology. Now, coming from the data warehouse background and a big data, I have done a warehouse system for a bank 15-20 years back, right? But still pharma companies, it is good that they have become a digital, right? But coming to the talking about a being digital, where we are talking about data analytics, integrating the system, still they are going ahead with a manual. I don't know why, because at this moment there are beautiful technologies, and with the democratization of the business intelligence software, this can happen. Um, this can happen if it is implemented with the right intention, right? So that is what is stopping. It requires a mindset, it requires a cultural change. And another point I would like to just tell you, that revolution doesn't happen in a day or a week or a month. These are gradual steps which we have to take, and that has to be taken, because pharma is really lagging behind. And today I'm glad that I was a part of a credit score and our score based system for a banking system, and all that has happened because the data was integrated, because banks they have started traveling their path to become a being digital, and so far the telecommunications, so far the retailers, everything. Thanks.
Well, thanks, Kavita, for sharing that and bringing the analogy from banking, which is, of course, a much more digitized industry than pharmaceutical. It's probably at the forefront of digitization in the country. So thanks for sharing that example. I'd like to also, maybe we've had a lot of discussions from the Indian companies here. I'd also like to invite Krupa to share her view as someone who's part of an MNC running operations here, on some of the views that were shared in terms of both, of course, the benefits, and we all realize the benefits of data and digitalization, but some of the challenges. Would you like to also share your views, Krupa? Krupa, you can unmute yourself. Yes.
So I'm audible, right? Yeah. So
Yes.
thank you, Priyanka, for asking this question. Coming back to the question, as we see that what pharma industry is looking currently is mainly the compliances, the safety, and the quality of the pharmaceutical products. When we talk of a regulatory compliances, is also adhere to the laws, regulations, guidelines, and the kind of specification where every pharmaceutical product following. But at the same time, whatever kind of processes we are following are being very labor-intensive tasks. As all my colleagues have already been talked about the digitalization, the kind of challenges what industry is facing. Moving ahead, we are into the age of digital. And when we talk of data analytics, it's a kind of revolution where the pharma industry is looking forward when we talk of the kind of quality metrics, the data analytics, the digital age, the digitalization, the automation, all kind of things have been coming into the picture. When we talk of regulatory, for any marketing authorization holder, we also look up different kind of tools and methodologies we have been using into the industry. Where we talk of quality metrics, we also drive into the continuous monitoring system. We talk of continuous improvement systems. There are things where we also talk, the life process management, the life cycle management, where we monitor the products in terms of the evaluation, the measurement. We ensure that the end product which has been delivered to the patient is the optimum safety and have a quality parameters. At the same time, there are different guidelines being introduced where we talk of the ICH-Q10, where we talk of pharmaceutical systems and the highlights. We also talks of many quality metrics, and we did different KPIs where we monitor. So what kind of challenges which we have recent past been, I would like to quote an example. As we know in India, there were certain incidences which we happened of the Indian cup syrup and the eye drops, and because of which there was a paramount that CDSCO take some measures to ensure that the quality of the pharmaceutical or the Indian manufacturers try to maintain the quality of the product. When we talk of all those things, there are certain three main parameters I would see that the challenges what we are facing, as rightly highlighted by Ms. Pooja, that we are more into the reactive approach rather than being very proactive. So there are instances when there is any inspection of any regulatory authority, instead of just going back into our own data, what kind of observations we got into the previous inspections going into our own the internal data, the historical data, what kind of observations we get, we move into a kind of reactive mode. We don't see that how proactively we can have an internal collaboration with our internal teams. We can have a data set, we can have a cross-functional team sitting together and analyzing that same data, where we can be more kind of proactive in our approach. That is where we lack in terms of, that is a basic challenge where we face. Second, when we talk of our own internal data, there is a lot of historical data being generated day in, day out into the industry. When we talk of certain observations, where we find that our own internal inspection reports have many a set of improvisation where we can talk about a kind of the analysis of a data where we can make internal. Somehow we lack in judging those kind of historical data, where we lack as an industry, and how our internal data can help us out to improve our own systems, our own resources, and we can have those inspection reports as a background where we can overcome the challenges and maintain whatever we want to be in terms of compliances. Then the third point where we can talk of a predictive analytics. So I think the next frontier into the regulatory compliance is the predictive analytics. And I think more of the world is talking about it. So when we talk of those data, when we talk of a clinical trials, or when we talk of any kind of data or submissions into the regulatory authority, there are a lot of data being generated. We also talk of statistical algorithms when there's a concept called as in clinical trials. We talk about machine learning techniques. So we have to be more predictive when we talk of those aspects into the industry. And the outcomes of those historical data should be predictive. It should not be that we are getting a lot of generation of data and we are not in a position to predict that the end result will be what in terms of the data, in terms of the machine learning systems. Addressing all those parameters, I think the paramount importance is about the regulatory compliances, where we adhere to the safety quality parameters, and the foremost pillars, which I think is the completeness of the data, the accuracy of the data, the consistency of the data, and the last one is the data integrity. So I feel that these are the four pillars where, as in regulatory compliances, we should be more focusing on this four aspect. And to overcome those challenges, the completeness of the data is very important. So when we go to any authority, it's very important that whatever data are generated into your systems, they are complete. There should not be any incompleteness, because ultimately it would result into the kind of queries where you are submitting, or the kind of inspection which you are following. The incompleteness of data will surely come back to you in the kind of observation. Second, accuracy. When we talk of accuracy of data, it's an utmost important, because whatever data are generated, it should be accurate. It should be in a presentable mode to any authorities or the inspectors, or the submission where we are doing, either it is in regulated or in the ROW market. So the accuracy is one such factor where we look upon. And many a times we have an observations in the 483 where we get this concept of a data integrity. So I think there are the four parameters where we look upon, and there are the basic challenges. And I think we look forward of such revision, as my colleagues have already emphasized, that revision of Schedule M is one such criteria where even Indian authorities have been looking up, that where they can increase their standards of regulations, where they can be into the global market in terms of the regulations. So I think these are the challenges and where we can overcome. And I think that's a positive change in the kind of regulations that have been happening in India. And we look forward that surely we'll be coming up with some stringent regulations in the future and be there into the global market.
Thanks, Krupa, for sharing very, in fact, emphasizing the role of predictive insights and using data very comprehensively and to maintain data integrity as well. I think the one perspective perhaps we still haven't brought into this discussion, and maybe Mr. Varma, I can invite you. You not only have obviously all the regulatory authorities and that you have as your stakeholders, but also customers, given that you're in the CDMO business. So from that lens, do you think that adds further lens to what the panelists have discussed so far? Are your customers even more demanding sometimes in terms of the quality metric? And how do you, think about the aspects that we've been discussing of compliance, excellence, and culture?
Yeah, in terms of quality metrics, in fact, FDA came up, they invite industry actually to join with them to improve on the quality management maturity. This quality metrics guideline initially they've developed in 2016 and circulated as a draft guidance. And subsequent to that, what FDA did is actually they started this quality maturity model and where they've taken three different aspects of the quality management maturity. The first one is actually the quality benchmarking study, which was initiated and where almost 300 companies have participated across the globe, 304 companies from 108 countries, they've participated in the study to evaluate the quality maturity of the organizations and to set up a benchmark. This is first study the FDA is initiated and where we have participated in that, and they have what they did is they monitored the metrics, quality metrics in terms of invalid OOS rate or the complaints rate or the batch rejection rate. Many metrics they've considered, including the maintenance issues of the equipment, and also the enablers of the organization they took into consideration for this benchmarking study. For this enablers, they took organization-wide the activities with respect to the people, the technologies development versus the process, how it is integrated, the process development versus the production. various enablers took into consideration for setting up this quality benchmarking. And not only that, they also initiated the other initiatives like they invited applications from the industry for a voluntary program to have an assessment with a team of FDA and the consultants from the industry. And this is one more initiative they initiated. And in recent, in 2024, they've already invited applications from the industry. They wanted to involve 9 different organizations across the globe to study this quality benchmarking. So in this entire scenario, the quality metrics and the excellence of quality and the culture of quality are playing important role where industry as well as regulators are looking at the maturity as Jayadev explained in his talk actually. The quality management maturity is important for every organization going forward. And to achieve this, the digitalization process, the digital transformation process. In fact, the digitalization process, everyone is involved. Most of the industry started taking steps, maybe be it be a baby steps or few are in the advanced way of doing this. Everyone is doing going into the digitalization process. As our other colleagues said, the digital transformation process, which few organizations already started and the industry is also looking for, and the regulators as well, they're looking into it. The next step of achieving the quality management maturity or the quality excellence of the culture of quality, digital transformation will definitely help us to enable the data and also the analytics around the data. And these will definitely help us to leverage and to make the predictive analytics in terms of equipment maintenance, in terms of product quality, in terms of other aspects of the quality. This will help the industry. And where we recently started one proof of concept in this quality, especially on the digital transformation using AI and ML model, where we have integrated all our the entire data available in our organization to work out various models of analyzing the data right from the technology to the manufacturing outputs and the quality around the raw materials, in process controls, critical process parameters. Everything is pulling into one data lake and analyzing the data to have a meaningful output. So
Lovely. That
we
is the
started
gold
this
star.
journey, and it will, yeah.
No, that is indeed, Mr. Varma, the I would say the North Star, right? Where if all the data was flowing seamlessly into one data
Yeah.
lake, something we call friction-free data, then a lot of these predictive analytics would be, more possible. So thanks for sharing that view. I know we are coming almost to the end of our time, and it's been such an enriching discussion hearing from all of you. But Kavita, maybe I wanted to bring you in for some closing thoughts as you think, as you heard the different perspectives of the panelists. Maybe I just bring you in to share some closing thoughts. Kavita, you're speaking on mute.
Am I audible?
You are, yes, go ahead.
Okay. So I know that before we conclude this insightful panel discussion, one thing which is categorically coming out is that data is not just a buzzword, right? Now, it is the lifeblood of modern economies and societies. And in today's digital age, the volume, velocity, and variety of data generated are unprecedented. So harnessing this data effectively empowers organizations to make informed decisions. This also drives the innovation and enhance the efficiency. Now, we are also talking about, on the other hand, the digitalization. So this acts as a catalyst for transforming data into actionable insights. From automation and artificial intelligence to blockchain and Internet of Things, digital technologies are revolutionizing how we collect, analyze, and utilize the data across industry. So embracing digitalization is not merely an option anymore. It's a necessity for organizations striving to remain competitive and relevant in an increasingly interconnected world, right? So what everybody is talking about data, everybody is talking about the data integration, right? So, and I am glad that Krupa also mentioned that we are becoming reactive, and to become a proactive, we have to focus on a quality rather than focus on a compliance. And that is how, and data doesn't lie. I always say in my conferences, data does not lie, and data has a story to tell. It has a beautiful story to tell as long as it has been stored and harnessed in a way and in a proper manner. Democratization of the technology, it is always there, which will give you the insights, which will give you hidden insights. And today we are talking about the predictive maintenance. So as long as we have not harnessed the historical data, I think talking about the predictive maintenance is too early to do that. So first, we have to have the integrated data. And I'm glad that Mr. Varma, they are doing the integration and they are putting the AI and ML model. Thank you.
No, thanks, Kavita, for those closing thoughts, and thanks everyone for being so generous with your time, but more importantly, with your views. I think it's a journey, quality, to continue to strengthen the foundation, and today the foundation is data and systems. And as we continue to, strengthen that journey, we will keep moving up the curve on compliance, excellence, and culture. It's really, really actually endearing to hear you see, all of you as, important leaders in the industry to place the importance on this topic and share your perspective. So thank you so very much. I don't know, Vibhuti, if you had any final thoughts. Otherwise, signing off, and thanks everyone for this.
Thank you.
Just want to thank you, everyone. Thank you to all of you for this enlightening session. And I'm sure all our audience has also taken some interesting takeaways from today's session. Once again, I'll thank you all of you for joining us. This is Times Group Virtual Roundtable discussion on leveraging data for pharma quality and compliance, powered by Caliper Technologies and brought to you by ETH. This is me, Vibhuti Kalam, signing off on behalf of ETH. Please stay safe and have a nice day, everyone. Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Have a great day.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah. Thank you.